Dawn, chaos, tiny footprints, you wake up to screaming. Not the danger kind, the toddler kind. The kind that says someone has tried to eat a beetle, someone else has bitten the ceremonial goat, and someone is naked, covered in berry juice and doing laps around the fire like a caffeinated squirrel. Congratulations, you are raising children in the Paleolithic era. Your furs are soaked in spit and mammoth milk, your hair smells like fermented tuber, you haven't had an uninterrupted nap since the last ice age. And yet, you wouldn't trade it for anything, except maybe silence or soap. Step 1. The birth. A surprise. There's more of you now. There is no hospital, no doula, no scented candles or playlist titled Calm Uterus Energy. There is only a shallow cave, a howling mother, a half-awake shaman trying to remember what herbs aren't poison, and a confused father holding a rock like it might help. He keeps turning it over in his hands, as if one side might say instructions. Birth is raw, loud, ancient. It involves sweating, chanting, biting a stick, and at least one Urson yelling at the moon for moral support. The baby arrives like a wet shout. Red, wrinkled, furious at being born into such a damp environment. It looks like a screaming raisin dipped in clay. Everyone cheers. The shaman starts painting a red spiral on the cave wall to mark the occasion. Someone misinterprets this as a snack and licks it. Immediately, the newborn is bundled in mammoth fur, moss, and the closest cleanish rag someone can find. It blinks once, then screams louder. Naming is fast and pragmatic. Suggestions are thrown out like guesses at a meat raffle. Bloop, tiny fist, looks like my uncle. Eventually, someone picks something practical. Easy to yell across a valley, probably monosyllabic, yarp or teef, or that one with loud face. Done. You hold them close, they smell like victory, milk, and fear. Your first instinct is to cuddle them, your second is to stare into the middle distance and whisper, "Now what?" Step 2. Feeding the unfeedable. Statement babies are basically loud potatoes with digestive issues. They scream, they squirm, and they leak from every available hole. They eat what you eat, which is to say, questionable things. You mash tubers with rocks. You boil bark until it stops screaming. You chew roots, first, then spit it lovingly into their mouths like a mother bird performing an act of deep, unsettling affection. You call it feeding. The baby calls it foreplay, with danger. When they cry, you offer them options like a desperate street vendor, a roasted root, a goat toe, a rock shaped vaguely like a smiley face. Sometimes they want all three. Other times they hurl them at your face with the strength of a very small, very angry catapult. Mothers nurse constantly, mid-hunt, mid-fire, mid-argument with Aunt Grack about who left the mammoth guts too close to the tent. Fathers, eager to help, pick up the baby like it's either a blessing or a cursed turnip. Most hold it upside down at least once. A few try to soothe it by showing off their spear. It does not soothe. It terrifies. Nothing makes sense. Baby's first weapon. At some point, the child learns to grasp. At first, it's sweet. They grasp your nose, your finger, your hair. Then, they grasp your earlobe and refuse to let go for 3 entire moons. They grasp your dignity and throw it into the communal fire. And then, disaster. They discover rocks. Their first throw is weak, wobbly, adorable even. Everyone claps. By the 3rd week, they're weaponizing pebbles like a toddler-sized trebuchet powered by spite and sticky fingers. You lose 3 tribe members to forehead strikes delivered with surgical precision and giggling menace. One man still walks with a limp after the incident with the pointy one. The cave wall is covered in tiny dents. One is helpfully labeled Snarp's First Toss in crude berry paint, alongside a bloodied handprint and what may be an apology or a threat. You try to introduce boundaries. Firm tone, clear instructions, repetitive grunting. The child blinks at you, smiles, then picks up the concept of boundaries and eats them. Like, literally choose the stick you pointed with. You are raising a chaos goblin with excellent aim, and honestly, You're a little proud. Step 4. Discipline in the time of mammoths. Modern parenting says, use gentle redirection. Caveman parenting says, make scary faces and grunt until they stop. You try timeouts. The child wanders off, finds a skunk, and returns with it like it's a therapy pet. You name the skunk Hissball. It does not help. You try guilt. The child blinks at you, completely unfazed, then casually carves your likeness on the cave wall, with crossed eyes, a lumpy forehead, and what appears to be a fart cloud. You try silence. They throw a bead at your face. Eventually, you settle on a system. A classic blend of bribery and psychological warfare. Good behavior equals extra berries, maybe even honey if you're feeling fancy. Bad behavior equals you sleep next to Grub the Snorer for a night. Grub has sleep growls that register as seismic events. The child tests this system like a tiny lawyer with a grudge. One day they help gather roots, carry them neatly, and even share with another kid. The next, they bite the shaman's knee mid-ceremony and, with a totally straight face, claim it was part of a sacred vision. The shaman begins to question everything. You begin to cry into your moss blanket. Everyone is exhausted, even Hissball. Step 5. Education, but make it violent. There's no school, just life, and that life involves fire, wolves, mud, and the occasional surprise plague of angry geese with vendettas and no fear of toddlers. Learning happens fast, brutally fast. Fire equals hot, bees equals don't. Falling in the river equals automatic nickname and lifelong humiliation. Little Gorp still gets called Splash Pants, and it's been 3 winters. There are no classrooms, no chalk, no alphabet songs, just elders yelling educational gems like, hit, harder, no, not that hard. You broke the stone, you fix the stone. Children learn through chaos. They learn to paint. Usually themselves, they learn to hunt, mostly butterflies at first. They learn to climb absolutely everything that evolution never intended children to climb. The trees, the rocks, a sleeping mammoth once. That was a tense afternoon. There are no report cards, no parent-teacher conferences, only scars, legends, and the occasional beet tossed ceremoniously into the fire to celebrate a successful afternoon of not dying. You beam with pride the first time your child brings back something dead, even if it's just a lizard that clearly died of embarrassment. Step 6. Bedtime, aka the daily battle. You attempt to put your child to sleep. You rock them gently. You hum an old tribal lullaby that's basically just a chant about not being eaten. You offer warm roots and bedtime stories about how Uncle Grok once got stuck in a tree, sobbed for 2 days, and was rescued by an annoyed squirrel named Barry. They stare at you like you've personally betrayed them. You wrap them in soft furs. They kick free like a furious fish. You lay them down near the fire on the good moss. They immediately roll into a goat and begin chewing its ear like it's soothing. You try singing again, louder this time. They scream, you scream, the goat screams, the shaman from across the cave screams for you to shut up or move to another valley. Eventually, the child flops down, exhausted from sheer stubbornness. You collapse beside them, whispering promises to every deity you can name that if this tiny human sleeps for more than a single moon cycle blink, you'll never complain about anything again. At dawn, they sit up, refreshed, smiling, and somehow already sticky. You sit up groggily, discover a cold beat in your ear, a baby foot in your throat, and a single thought echoing in your brain: I used to have hobbies. Step 7. Milestones and mayhem. Every parent loves milestones. Cavemen are no different. You announce each one with the pride of someone who just invented fire, language, and smugness all at once. First steps, straight into a hornet nest. Bold, regretful, historic. First word, no. Said with conviction, repeated hourly. First tooth, immediately used to bite a raccoon. The raccoon did not see it coming. You carve the highlights into the cave wall with berry paste and mild trauma. Day 18. Snarp sat upright for the first time, then immediately rolled into the fire pit, still brave. Day 29. First successful scream. Scared off a hyena and 2 elders. Good lungs. These achievements are celebrated with ceremonial roars and gifts. Usually dirt, occasionally moss. Once, someone gave a really shiny stick and that became the tribe's heirloom for a week, until it got thrown into the river during a tantrum. You tell yourself you're not emotional. You lie. Because the first time your child masters the sling, holds it steady, spins it true, and misses your head on purpose, you nod with misty eyes and a bruised heart. That's growth. That's love. That's parenting. Step 8. Playtime. There are no toys. Just sticks, bones, and the constant looming threat of death. And yet, children thrive. They make games out of everything, especially danger. Top favorites include chase the bug that might be poisonous. Spoiler, it usually is. How far can I throw this at Dad? Spoiler, surprisingly far. Lick the ice patch and see what happens. Spoiler, tongue trauma. They play pretend by reenacting mammoth hunts with alarming commitment. There are chase scenes, there are dramatic collapses. There's always one kid yelling, "I am the mammoth," and knocking over everyone else. Costumes consist mostly of stolen loincloths, twigs, and unearned confidence. One clever child invents a new game, pretends sleeping. Adults clap, relieved. Then the kid rolls over and casually steals half the food. Genius! You consider inventing rules, some kind of ancient code of conduct. You draft one, no biting unless it's part of the storyline. The children immediately chew the rules. Literally. Even Jeffrey the squirrel joins in. He's now fully accepted as part of the child gang. He wears a leaf helmet, rides a baby goat like a war steed, and leads coordinated sneak attacks on unattended berry baskets. It is wild, it is unsupervised, it is anarchy. But, honestly, it's also pretty cute. Step 9. Illness, injury, and inventive medicine. At some point, the child will eat something they shouldn't, fall from somewhere they shouldn't, get licked by something that definitely had an agenda. This is when parenting turns into full-time crisis management. The healer arrives. She gives the child a tea made of moss, spit, and hope. You hold their hand while they vomit dramatically and then ask for beet stew 5 minutes later. Bruises are kissed, scrapes are soothed with mud, fevers are prayed over, danced around, and shouted at until they go away. Sometimes it works, other times you invent a ritual involving a leaf, a rock, and crying. The important thing is, they survive. And so do you. Barely. Step 10, letting go, sort of. One day they wake up taller. They grunt deeper. They want their own spear. They call you old smell. You're proud and a little sad. They start joining hunts. They bring back food. They tell you stories, like they've lived lifetimes in a single afternoon. You try not to hover. You fail. You offer advice. They roll their eyes, then repeat it to their friends later like it was their idea. You realize they're growing up, but not too far. Because that night they still sleep curled beside you, still reach for your hand when the wind howls too loud, still throw pebbles at you to say, "I love you," without saying it. And then the legend. Eventually, your child becomes a story, not just in your heart, but on the cave walls. You carve their journey, the tantrums, the triumphs, the day they caught a fish using only a sock and a death stare. Their name becomes part of the tribe's songs. Other kids chant it while chucking mud at each other. You are no longer just a parent. You are the honored ancestor of that one who licked the fire rock and lived. You did it. You raised a human. And now, us. We have car seats now, and preschools, and baby monitors that play whale sounds. But raising kids is still chaos, still beautiful. Still, one long series of "don't lick that." What's in your mouth? I love you, but please stop throwing things at the wall. We lose sleep, we lose patience, we lose entire weeks to playdates and laundry and small plastic dinosaurs in the toilet. But we gain something too. We gain little versions of us. Funnier, weirder, louder, softer. And even when they grow up and roll their eyes and say, "Stop being weird, Mom," they still carry your lessons, your love, your ridiculous bedtime stories, because the job of raising a kid isn't about perfection, it's about showing up. Moss in your hair, milk on your shirt, a beat in your pocket, and all final grunts of wisdom. If your kid throws rocks at your head, they're probably fine. If a squirrel becomes their emotional support animal, lean in. And if you're crying in the bushes after a tough parenting day, just know you're doing great. You're not alone, and you are officially part of the oldest, messiest, most honorable tradition in human history, raising tiny humans without instructions. So, take a deep breath, hug your kid, hide the sharp rocks, and keep going. You've got this, cave friend.